Hello, everyone. I'm Dan McKee, Lieutenant Governor, State of Rhode Island, and welcome to our virtual town hall, helping the small businesses in the state of Rhode Island. Today, as usual, we have a very good cast to give you great information about what's happening on the small businesses and the reopening of the state of Rhode Island. Before that, I just wanted to take a moment. I am wearing my patriotic tie today, and we want to make sure everybody remembers, even in this health crisis that we're in right now, managing our way through, that this is Memorial Day weekend, and we want to make sure that we're delivering the message and giving our thanks to those men and women who have served our country and gave the ultimate sacrifice of their lives to protect our freedom. So today I'll be wearing this all day long through the show. So as you look at me, remember it's Memorial Day weekend. Make sure we say thank you to those men and women who have served, and also the families, all the families that pay a price to, all the Gold Star families. We had our Garden of Heroes ceremony this week, honoring those men and women who have lost their lives since 9/11 in the service of our country. And it was a garden that was started by Lieutenant Governor Charlie Fogarty back in 2005, and we continue the tradition today. So that being said, let's get right into the broadcast. Bring on Senator Palmer, please, Ben. And as Senator, thank you for being here today. You've been a champion for this effort right from day one, and I know that you've been working extraordinarily hard to help the small businesses. And why don't you just introduce yourself to the people who may not know you, but you represent down in Middletown area, that part of the state, and a beautiful part of the state, by the way. Senator, welcome.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Thank you for doing this. And as you indicated, it is appropriate to take some time to recognize those this Memorial Day weekend. I am Lou DePalma. I'm a senator from District 12. For those who don't know, it's all of Middletown, all of Little Compton, Southern Tiverton, in the northeast corner of Newport. I'm one of the Senate Deputy Majority Leaders, first Vice Chair of the Senate Finance Committee, a member of the Senate Education Committee, and along with my other colleagues in the Senate and the legislature, we do have a focus on small business. They are the lifeblood of our economy. We need to figure out how to move them forward in these critical times, and as we get through this, support their needs through this as well. So I've been on just about all your calls. Thanks for your leadership here. You have been leading this, Lieutenant Governor, with regards to the needs of the small business in a multitude of ways. Specific things, obviously, with the garden centers, with the restaurants, and obviously with the hair salon and hairdressers, golf courses, all those critical things that are, while might be nuanced, are important to Rhode Islanders, important to the small businesses of Rhode Island, including the Gifted Forward program and some of the folks you've had on. We recently had a Finance Committee meeting hearing last night to talk about the budget. I did bring up in the guidance from U.S. Treasury Department, one of the bullets that's in there talks about support and investment for small businesses that have been impacted by the COVID-19 crisis. Panel members there, but the two panel members we brought it up with were, in fact, Acting Director of DOA, Department of Administration, Brett Smiley, and the OMB Director, the Office of Management and Budget, Jonathan Warmer. I brought that up with regards to the CARES Act money being able to be used for that. And right now, people will know that we've received an allocation of $1.25 billion. Of that, upwards on the high end, not all of it, about $850 million has been allocated to a whole host of issues, but there's still $400 million unallocated. I brought up the issue about the support for small businesses that the CARES Act allows us to do, or businesses in general. We did hear from Acting Director Smiley that supposedly the Commerce Corporation, Commerce RI, is working on something. Not certain what, so it's a wait and see, but it's good to hear that the state is looking at the support for small businesses that have been supported by PPP, those who haven't been supported by PPP, those who have been supported by EIDL, or those not supported by EIDL. So we need to see what comes forward from that.
Yeah, Senator, and you pointed out as about the same time that our office discovered that there's clauses in the guidance on those on that CARE 1.25 billion that really instructs states to help small businesses that have been impacted by the virus. And Monday on Tuesday's call, and again today, we're press releasing out that we really want to see a good portion of those dollars used, at least I do, towards the businesses that have been asked to close, basically mandated that they can't open, to protect the health and safety and welfare of our, residents in the state of Rhode Island. And I think it's only fair that if we're asking them to close or demanding that they're being closed the way we are, that we actually compensate them for that. Use some of those federal dollars that can be grants to actually make sure that there's some help for these businesses that you're going to hear about today. So Senator, thank you so much for your work. Stay with us here while we bring on Mark Haywood, just in case you have some questions from your constituents or you're hearing some things. But bring Mark on if he's available, Ben.
How are you, Senator? Governor, it's good to see you again.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark. How you doing? Good seeing you.
Yeah.
Great.
The senator doesn't have the beard that Joe Rodeo had, but Joe had a little. He had to take care of a plumbing problem at his house today. So I shouldn't say that publicly, but yes, he's got a boiler issue he's taking care of. He's a jack of all trades. He's an attorney and a plumber, I guess. But anyways, give us the overview, Mark.
Well, first of all, thank you to all of our military members out there for the service that they provide to the country. I expressly want to thank a 93-year-old Navy veteran in East Providence, Henry S. Haywood. He was a World War II vet. He is still every day goes out and he wears his Navy hat, and we're very proud of him and all of the people who have served with him. And in the United, I know he's a huge Navy guy, and he might be listening to this right now. And the other thing is, Senator, I heard Governor McKee talk about you being a grandfather. I became a grandfather for the first time on Tuesday, John Patrick Haywood, and we're very proud of him as well. So I just wanted to get those goes right out front. I do have a couple of statistics that I want to provide. On idle, 934 loans for 86,208,500 have been approved here in Rhode Island. And I know that's there's going to be a substantial bump to that next week, Governor, because a number of those were done overnight last night, and that's not in that number that I got this morning. So I have to go back in and do the reconciliation. And on PPP, we have 15,857 loans for $1.85 billion, which is a very significant number here for the state of Rhode Island. But there are some people, as Senator DePalma has said, that's kind of outside. We can't quite work around. I know that there is a lot of people talking about legislation that's currently pending before the Congress. We need more than 8 weeks. 8 weeks is not enough. Listen, while I empathize with everybody, I can't deal with that, and I understand where you're coming from. I can only deal with the legislation and the law and the regulations as they are today. And I would just, continue to encourage everybody to try to comply with everything that you have as of today. And the other thing is, I was on a Zoom conference this morning. Matt Weldon, who will come on after me, they mentioned Matt, and I have to tell you, Matt has been absolutely positively terrific, because I know businesses are in a tough spot, and with his support and with us pushing forward saying bring your people back on board, I think we've gotten the word out to where we got people coming back onto the roles of small business. And that's about what I have. I know that there's going to be additional information that will drop over the weekend, and we're just waiting for Treasury to post it on their site.
Well, Mark, again, thank you, and I love I love the recognition of your dad. My dad served in World War II. Unfortunately, he died back in 1986. So, give him a big hug for us when you can, and it's great to recognize him. And then being a grandfather as well as senator, and life goes on, and we need to make sure that we understand that. That's why I'm wearing my flag today, my flag tie, to make sure everybody recognizes the life that goes on, and we need to be really thankful for our blessings, right? So, and we're thankful for your help, Mark. And so, I don't know, Ben, is there any questions for Mark at all right now? If there are, let's ask them. And
there are a couple.
Keep on moving.
Absolutely. Number one, I'm a part-time fitness instructor, part-time hairstylist. I'm currently collecting off my gym W-2, but also put in a claim under the CARES Act for my hairdressing. I understand you can only have one claim. All I'm looking to do is combine the claims so that I can get money from hairdressing.
So I'm assuming that she's a 1099 for hairdressing, that she rents a chair at somebody else's establishment. As a 1099, she is eligible to apply for PPP under those circumstances, as she is under her other position as well. And if there's a difference in the two regarding collections and applying for unemployment, that's really something that Matt can deal with. And we have. Matt's been great because those kind of discussions of bringing some offset there, as long as I think Matt says, as long as you report whatever you have made through the PPP, then you should be fine.
This is a question about EIDL loans. How do we go about applying for one? I've seen it on the SBA site for 2 weeks, but only see agricultural.
Yeah. So the portal closed down some time ago for everybody, and it's only open right now for agricultural businesses. That was reopened by virtue of CARES Act. Is it 2.5 or 3.5? And that's the only reason that the portal reopened. Those are decisions that are made in Washington. I know there's a number of people out there waiting for the portal to reopen generally. And once it's reopened, we certainly will notify the governor and we can put it out so that everybody would know.
The PPP isn't one size fits all program, especially not for child care providers. Some states, such as Michigan, have relief grants. Is there something that we can do in Rhode Island for I don't know if that's a thing for
kind
you.
of a Senator DePalma and Governor McKee question.
And
that's my
idea.
Well. My idea on that one, Ben, is to, again, repeat that businesses that we've mandated to be closed by the state to protect the health of the people in Rhode Island, we should be using those federal dollars to compensate them with grants. And we can do that if we choose to do that. And I think we need to do that every month, the beginning of every month, until everybody's back to work. Everybody open their business. Go ahead, Becky.
So this is a simple, this is a similar question. Asking about paying for the supplies to help disinfect with since there's new mandates. I don't know about that, but I'm asking the question.
Yeah, the interesting thing about that is that's currently under consideration in the Senate. There are two bills that are there's one in the House, there's one in the Senate, of which I don't like to speculate, but I can at least tell you what I know, and that is the one in the Senate does deal with that and also extends from 8 to 16 weeks. But that's not what's policy right now. But we are aware of it, and the one in the Senate does address those kinds of needs. There is an additional one in the House. I talked to Congressman Cicilline yesterday about it. And I do know that there are certain provisions being looked at and I think it's the Problem Solvers Caucus that put forth the bill in the House. So I do know that there's a lot of peripheral issues that are being looked at that they're trying to resolve. It's not law yet, so we can't really comment on it, but I can tell you that it's something that people are looking at.
And then this is the last question for this group. Iona, just in general, hair salons. Hair salons that don't qualify for PPP loans. Anybody that didn't qualify for PPP, what can they do? That have independent contractors and stuff like that.
Well, the hair salon, the individual who owns the salon is qualified, and all of those individuals who rent chairs as 1099s are qualified in their own right. So everybody who works at a hair salon is qualified. I'm not sure what they're talking about.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, they could apply for the loan. Mark, I just got one that from one of the owners that's going to be on today, and I don't know we'll have time to get back to you, but the question is, and I think it's so businesses who anticipated to be open and that aren't open, went for PPP loans, and now they're holding off because it doesn't work for them right now because they're not earning any money. They could put the people back on the payroll, but they're making the the estimation at the moment that they don't want to use those dollars potentially. So when they reopen, those dollars could be used when they actually are operating because the unemployment package is working okay for them. So if they don't use it, can they pay it back without penalties? That's, that'd be one of the questions. And then how long do they have before they make that decision?
I think they can, Governor, and that I mean we certainly would encourage people to go in and to bring your staff back and employ people back on your payroll. They are your family, so to speak. But yeah, I have people on both sides of the aisle, people who have not gone forward and used it over the 8 weeks and are going to pay it back in full. And my only concern that I need to look up, Governor, is the carried interest charge. As to the 1%, whether or not that they're responsible for that as well.
Okay. Thanks, Mark. Thank you for being here. Stick around if you can. Listen to the different people talking. It's great.
I do. Very quickly.
Okay.
Very, very quickly, Mark. We talked about you very fondly last night during the hearing. Congressman Cicilline kicked off the Finance Committee hearing last night. And we did address the issue and challenge of extending the 8 weeks. As you indicated, it's 8 weeks. That's what the law says today. But clearly, it needs to be much longer than that. Congressman Cicilline did address that. Hopefully, it makes it through. Hope's not a plan, but it was an issue that was discussed. We also I mentioned your name with regards to the idle status. We had the National Council on State Legislatures there, 5 folks pre-briefing there, and they briefed the same information you've shared. And I said, with regards to idle, there's no insight. No one knows the application goes in, and no one knows what happens after that. I said, please, whoever you talk to in Washington from the various states, we need that as well. The third thing that was brought up, and they're going to look at, and Lieutenant Governor brought up this before, and constituents reached out to me about this as well. Lieutenant Governors talked about this as it relates to business continuity insurance. I know it's a touchy subject.
Yeah.
NCSL. I've seen some language that Massachusetts has put forward, other states, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, et cetera. He indicated as well that the NCSL folks, it's also being looked at from a federal level perspective as well. No one should get their hopes up about it, but just know that it's being thought about in the state of Rhode Island. Other states are thinking about it. Mass has put it in March. So something being worked as well.
Just on the idle, Senator, and you and I have had this discussion offline. There's a curtain there that we cannot see beyond that curtain. And I've been abundantly clear to just about everybody that, send us what you have. We will endeavor to work with the FFC East, which is the Disaster People East, to try to get answers. But the problem is, on all the other programs, I can go in and just look through it. I can't do that on disasters. And that's the frustrating thing. And I know I've talked to all the members of our congressional delegation about this, that the district offices really should have that ability. But in light of that, anyway, we still, Governor, are going behind the scenes and asking people that we know on the other side to look at these particular questions. And I think we've resolved some of those issues.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Senator, stick with me. We're going to bring Matt Weldon on.
Hey, Governor. Where'd everybody go?
We're here.
Okay, you can hear me now. Okay, good.
We're here.
Very good. Well, I want to say congratulations.
Perfect. Thanks, Matt.
Congratulations to Senator De Palma and to Mark. New additions to the family are always great, even if they come with little Yankee hats, Senator. I guess that's acceptable for some people. Just quick update today, 226,017 unemployment claims. 55,300 of those are for the new pandemic unemployment assistance program. We've talked about that program being for the self-employed folks, the 1099s, gig economy workers, and people that don't qualify for regular unemployment right now. I want to make a special note about that. If someone in the past had been on unemployment and they were disqualified for one reason or another, you can become disqualified over an issue like, I quit my job and I didn't have a good reason. If you're disqualified, you cannot requalify until you are reemployed somewhere and earn a certain amount of money. Right now, the federal government wants to provide assistance to these people, so they should go in. They know if they're disqualified. They've received communication in the past. Go in and file a PUA claim on DLT's website. Right on the main site, it's on the left-hand side, about a third of the way down the page. It says for gig workers, independent contractors, and people not eligible. File one of those claims, get it in the system. The good thing is those are going through very quickly now. and we can help get you caught up and pay you back to when you were out during the pandemic, not before that time. So that's very important. And we still have 22,500 TDI claims, so we're pretty busy on that front too. A couple other notes really quick, and we talked about this before, Governor. You brought it up, and it's important. For those of you that haven't been on unemployment before, it is a process where you apply for a benefit, you're awarded that benefit, but then you have to go in every week and ask for a payment. And it's like working for a week and then asking for your paycheck. And so it's the same thing. If you don't go in and you miss a week or 2 weeks, you're going to be locked out. Then you'll have to talk to somebody at DLT. And right now that's extremely difficult. Not because we don't have a lot of people working on it, but because the volume is so great. So please go in once a week. You can do that on DLT's website at dlt.ri.gov. There is a section it's called UI Online. And then in parentheses, it says formerly teleserve. That is how you request your payment each week. There's also a phone number you can use. If you don't do it every week, you won't get a benefit. I think that's it from me today, Governor. Nice, short and sweet, and I'll take any questions anybody has.
What day of the week should they be doing that?
You can do it all week, but you can't start until
Matt,
Sunday.
what day of the week should they be doing the?
They can begin on Sundays.
Okay, so anytime during the week. Okay,
Right.
great. Thanks. Any questions, Ben? Otherwise, we'll kind of keep on moving along here. But if you got questions, no, we're good. Matt, thank you very much. Senator, you have anything for Matt at the moment?
Other than great work, and if you need a haircut, come give me a call.
I do. Look at this.
I do my own.
Okay. Thanks, Matt. Do we have a this is great. She'll be on shortly, I think. Oh yeah, there she is. Hi, Liz.
I can see you and hear you. I'm not sure if you just said anything, but I can see you and hear you now.
I said hello and welcome, and now we can hear you. You must have just unmuted yourself. Yes, I love it. You got a smile on your face. And Memorial Day weekend is an important one for down in Bristol as well. So we got to make sure we honor all those who have served so well, right?
Yes, thank you for making sure that we all remember that. So, and hello, Senator, to you as well.
Yeah. How are you, Director?
Yes.
Very good to see you all.
Yeah. Liz, do you have an overview that you want to go over here with us? And I'm sure there's a couple questions, but if not, thank you for being here.
Yeah, I had two things I wanted to bring up. First, we started doing inspections on businesses last Saturday. We are focused on going to retail stores first, and then we're going to be starting to look at some of your smaller food-based businesses, especially those that have some version of outdoor dining. As far as the results we've seen so far, areas for improvement are making sure that every business owner has a plan. That is a really important piece of it because it's twofold. Not only are you trying to make your customers comfortable, you also want to have a plan for your employees. So you want to make sure that you know what you're going to do if you end up getting a positive case in your business now before you get it so that you know how to react when that does happen. If you're looking for information, that's all of that. The template and everything is on the reopeningri.com website. We actually have had some businesses requesting inspections as well. So if somebody wants to be inspected, they can make that request through the DBR webpage where we have I have a question complaint form. It has a hands up in the air, or you can call our hotline, which is 889-5550, and you can request an inspection. The second thing that I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to ask questions about, but hopefully this will answer them up front, is that at the 1 p.m. conference today, the governor will be providing lots of critical information on phase 2. So for those of you whose businesses are still closed, there will be at least something in there for just about everyone. And that information comes out at 1 o'clock. I think that the governor and the senator would agree with me that unfortunately, I'm not able to share much of that. That's sort of rule number 1. You don't give away what the boss has to say at 1 o'clock. So there's limited what I can say, but know that lots of information will come out at 1 o'clock, followed by additional information through guidance documents after that. But things that a business should keep in mind is the number of people that will be in your store or in your space, the capacity, as well as the social distancing, how you're going to handle all of those. Some information has come out recently about airflow. So if you saw today's Projo, there was some really good information in there about that. But you want to think about airflow and making sure that it's the air conditioner or the HVAC system, if you're able to do things inside, or that there's airflow outside for your customers. Face mask, the face mask usage now has some studies behind it showing just how important the use of a face mask is, as well as the ability to have a hand washing station, regular sink, or hand sanitizer is super important. And then the most important and critical thing is having people who do not feel good stay home. Make sure your employees, before they come in, that you're talking to them, making sure that they're feeling well. But sick folks, we want you to stay home so that we can make sure that everyone's okay and that nothing gets passed along. So that's all I wanted to bring up, and then whatever questions might be out there.
Okay, I want to pressure on anything, but the hair salons are open up in Monday on Massachusetts. Any hope there? No, you don't say that.
I can tell you the hair salon
Maybe
will
there
not
is,
be
there
open.
isn't. But I'll tell you, the businesses that are not allowed to open, I think. Okay. So and so that's why I've been saying, and again, the businesses that we're not allowing to open is because we don't think it's safe for them to open it right now, right? So we're protecting the public safety. Otherwise, we would allow these businesses to open. So hopefully, we're going to be able to. It's not in your area, but I'll keep on repeating it as the show goes along here, that we should be using those federal monies, those CARE monies, to compensate the businesses that we're requiring to stay closed. And that would take a lot of pressure off a lot of people, including the business owners, if we actually were able to apply the dollars to the businesses that have been hurt the most. And that's the ones you're hearing from the most, are the ones who are closed. When are we going to open? Because they're worried about whether or not they're going to make it or not.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
Anyways, that's my thought on
businesses.
And then any advice for the businesses that are not open yet, because a lot of them are scrambling with their, thinking that they understand what the reopening strategy is going to look like, and it might not even be, it might be, work that they shouldn't even be doing or money they're spending, because it might not even meet the standards that you're going to be looking for.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much information that's coming out there, and we're finally starting to get some good data from the foreign countries on being able to trace back how outbreaks happened. And so we're really trying to concentrate on what we know, but understand that the data and the reports are coming out, and that's how we're trying to make some decisions. So don't feel like the plan that you've created is your permanent plan. Make sure you're paying attention to news that comes out and information, and adjusting and being flexible with what your business does.
Senator DePalma.
Yeah, I'll say, Liz, that I've been on call with Senator.
Very quick. So, Liz, thank you for being here.
I don't know whether I can't hear him right now.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Senator.
Okay.
Governor, go out and come back in.
Liz, thank you very much. And I know we've had several conversations. It's a spirited conversation, so I always appreciate the spirited conversation. And first and foremost, the safety of folks. As we're looking to do things more regionally, I know in the case the governor is looking to try and align the opening of our gaming facilities, Twin River and Lincoln, with regards to casinos opening up with Connecticut and Massachusetts at the same time. The more we can do in alignment, that's congruent with what Massachusetts and Connecticut does, I think the better off we're all going to be. Obviously, safety and health of our residents is critical and most important. And the reason I say that, from the seat I sit in, I represent a coastal community, a neighboring community of Massachusetts, Little Compton and Tiverton. Not that Middletown and Newport are far away, but those folks live minutes from the Massachusetts Fall River, Westport, Swansea, Somerset area for the most part. And we can say to them, be safe, be smart. You can't go to your hairdresser in Rhode Island. They're going to go to their hairdresser, or they'll come see me. But given that, the more we can do as we move forward and to ensure we align in a health and safety sort of way, with our neighboring states, the better, I think the better we're going to be, as opposed to having to ask and address more questions that come from the businesses as well as the residents of the state. But first and foremost is safety. So.
No, for sure. And as you know, as you and I have spoken, Massachusetts had closed down far more of their business types than Rhode Island did. So for example, just construction and manufacturing alone, those were completely closed in Massachusetts all this time. And Rhode Island never actually shut them down, right? So to align with Massachusetts would have had us shutting them down. So, you know, we're making the best decisions for us, and we're all doing so at such a fast pace that, you know, while sometimes we're connecting with other states when we have time to look at things, sometimes we're, you know, in the beginning we were shutting things down so fast, and at this point we're trying to open things up so fast that sometimes there's just not the time to connect with the other states. However, we are doing some things now with Connecticut and some things with Massachusetts, and it really just depends. I mean, as Lieutenant Governor said, I live in Bristol, so I'm a frequent shopper to Massachusetts. I have not gone into Massachusetts. I'm the regulator, so I'm following all of the rules, but I have tried to keep all of my shopping local. So yeah, so it'd be nice to coordinate, but I would hate to coordinate to slow things down even more. But we're trying hard to get as much open as we can.
Thank you very much.
And Liz, before I had to drop off and back on, I think you can hear me now. I did want to reinforce what you're saying, the fact that we're looking at states, and because we want to make sure that, you know, we're keeping pace. We are, and even in other countries that we've been on calls in the last week with Taiwan. We've been on the call with New Zealand yesterday. And we were on call with Israel the day before, comparing their reopening strategies. And we're definitely keeping pace with where they are. Some of them were 5-6 weeks ahead of us in terms of when they had their peak in terms of the infection of the virus. And for instance, like the call we had this week with Israel, they're just starting to open up.
Yeah.
You know, they're starting to open some of the things. So we just need to be as flexible as we can. And I know you're trying to do that. And that's why I think we should be paying real special attention to the businesses that we're saying can't open because we don't think it's safe for them to open yet. And if we're able to get money to their pockets and really focus on them, that's going to take a lot of pressure off a lot of people, because I know you're doing the yeoman's work to, you know, to make things happen as quickly as you can. So we appreciate that very much.
Yeah. And, you know, for particularly the bigger ones, like the areas as well as the hair salons, you know, we have done, it's been much easier now to find that data. You know, in the beginning that was hard information, but, you know, I can tell you exactly, you know, how many hair salons allow for blow drying and how many don't, right? Like, so for example, you know, that's been a big topic of conversation in hair salons across the country. And so we have the data that says, you know, these states are allowing for hair dryers and these states aren't, right? So, you know, you're getting down to some of the nitty gritty things like that, but now the states are really sharing information. It's been much easier to make big decisions.
Okay, Liz, thanks. We'll see you next week sometime for sure. I'm sure I'll talk to you before then too.
You got it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah. Senator,
Lieutenant Governor, something is
Source, Rhode Island, a place that we're very in the leadership that the director has. That's very helpful, and Lindsay reached to us. Thank you, and about sharing things about small businesses, in particular how you're reacting to and how you're serving in this time of this health crisis. So please share with us, Lindsay, what you got, you know, to offer right now.
Sure, and thank you so much, Governor, for the opportunity to join. I know this is reaching a lot of Rhode Islanders every week, so we appreciate the chance to just share our message, which is that we're here to help connect Rhode Islanders with high quality and affordable health coverage. And that applies whether you're a small business or an individual, somebody with a family who doesn't have health coverage. We know it's more important now than ever to make sure many Rhode Islanders have coverage. And so a couple of things that I thought I'd highlight today are, first and foremost, we have a small business program. It's called HSRI for Employers. And we have about a little under 900 small businesses right now who we serve. A little over 6,000 Rhode Islanders are enrolled through this program. And we can help small businesses. I know, they're going through a lot right now. They have a lot of things on their minds. They're making gut-wrenching decisions every day. But to the extent that they are interested in connecting their employees with health coverage, we're here to help. We can connect you with a member of our business engagement team. We'll provide one-on-one assistance, whether you have a broker or you have someone who handles human resources for you, or someone who's wearing, a number of different hats. But we can connect you with somebody on our team and walk you through the plans that are available through HealthSourceRI for employers. One thing that I'll highlight is that often the most affordable options through HealthSourceRI, and we can provide a defined contribution model, which is often attractive, particularly in these uncertain times. It gives a little bit of predictability for the employer to say, here's what I'm going to contribute towards my employees' health coverage. And then the employee can take that contribution and make a choice for what fits their needs best. They can pick which carrier, which plan, they can just cover the difference between the employer's contribution and what they're interested in enrolling in. We know that unfortunately a lot of employers are experiencing a transition right now, dealing with a lot of difficulties in terms of navigating the restrictions and the limitations. If you're an employer with HealthSourceRI who is going through furloughs, layoffs, closures, I know that one of the top things on your mind is helping your employees navigate this experience as well. And so I'd also mention that we can help connect your employees with coverage through the individual and family program. And often coverage through HealthSourceRI will be the most affordable option for somebody who is experiencing job loss or a reduction in their income, a reduction in hours. So bottom line, we're here to help. We want to get the message out that we provide affordable coverage for Rhode Islanders, and give us a call if we can help you out.
Yeah, what number should they call you at? What's your office your number, Director? Do you have that? And while you're looking, yeah, go ahead. Share that with us, please.
Yeah, so we're working remote as are most people, but we have a call center that's open. Monday through Friday. And the best phone number I'll give right now, which is 1-855-840-4474. We also have a great website with a web chat tool that we're seeing a lot of people take advantage of. Our website is healthsourceri.com.
Yeah, and so, Director, thank you so much, and you've got a wealth of experience. You've been at the HealthSourceRI from day one, right? And now Director, and also experience in the Lieutenant Governor's office with Lieutenant Governor Roberts, whose leadership helped establish the HealthSourceRI. And boy, it's really proving to be a tremendous resource for us today. Isn't.
That's right. A lot of the decisions that were made early on are really paying off now. We have a state-based exchange, so we're able to make decisions at the local level to improve access to coverage. One example being that when the governor declared a state of emergency back in the middle of March, we were able to open a special enrollment period. For anyone who was uninsured in the state, this was an extra opportunity outside of our annual open enrollment period to come in and get covered, which is just great. And you're right, a lot of people put a lot of hard work into making sure that the exchange was a success in Rhode Island. We've put the options available to the state under the ACA to really put it to work. And now we've seen a really great reduction in the rate of uninsured in Rhode Island, which just puts us in a better position to weather a storm like this. But I know that for individuals, for employers, for employees, right now is a really difficult time. People are maybe losing their coverage through their job that they've had for years, maybe decades. So in a lot of ways, this feels like early 2013 when we were just trying to get the message out that we're here and that we're a source for health coverage, just because we're trying to connect with people who haven't had to think of HSRI on the individual side. They've always had their coverage through their job. But that's exactly one of the reasons why the ACA was passed, to make sure that when people have gaps in coverage, when they lose their coverage or don't have it to begin with through their employer, they can come to HSRI.
Well, thank you. I'm back. I actually changed my, I'm on an iPad now, got off my computer. Hopefully this is going to be very good, but thanks for coming on today and sharing all that information. And again, for those who didn't hear it, the director has had experience in the Lieutenant Governor's office and has been day one since being involved with Health Source Rhode Island and now director. Thank you so much for being here, Lindsay. We look forward to working with you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Okay, let's see how we make out now. We want to bring the Gifted Forward program on. I think that we have maybe one or two of the people here. Laurie, how are you? And Chris?
Hi, great. Thank you. How are you?
I am now on my iPad. Technology, very interesting thing, and let's see how long this goes. If I have to leave, you gotta run the rest of the show.
We can do that.
Okay. Chris, why don't we start with you and tell us kind of where we are right now in the Gifted Forward program. For those who don't know, rismallbusiness.org is a place where you can go and support our small businesses, and it's quickly becoming this hub for information to help our small businesses in the state of Rhode Island. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, so as we mentioned last Friday, we are rebuilding the website to really make it a hub for all small businesses. So we've been working on that as a team the past week or two. But one of the biggest things is that we know that there are a lot of other great organizations and businesses out there that are providing resources and free services to small businesses. So we want to come together with all these other organizations and really centralize all these resources and services for small businesses on the rismallbusiness.org site. So we've been reaching out to organizations like the Rhode Island Small Business Development Center, spoke with Ed today, and other great organizations. So if you have a business or an organization that would like to be part of this and on our website, please let the governor's office, Lieutenant Governor's office know. You could email me directly as well, cp@trailblaze.marketing. So that we can really, centralize all the great organizations that are out there providing services and information for small businesses.
Thank you, Chris. Laurie, tell us how you're working to help this community.
Yeah, so we have this great three-prong approach here. So first thing I would like to say is I had the honor of being the coordinator of the Connected Warriors program, which is a yoga program for veterans and service members. And so I really do thank the work that all of our veterans put in and got to teach them for many years. So it's an honor. Anyway, thank you for that. So in the smallbusiness.org site, we're bringing together all the resources from the government, from nonprofit, and the rithrives.com site will integrate for businesses and customers who's open, who's offering curbside delivery. Sorry, I always say that, curbside pickup, delivery, purchase of gift cards, and we also have a new deals and coupon section. So as we go into this weekend and think about getting out, you can check on businesses that are offering curbside pickup and delivery. One of the things that we're working on together right now, which is really fun, is the Lieutenant Governor's office with the rismallbusiness.org group is supporting the Rhode Island Brewers Guild and the breweries in Rhode Island for the Newport Virtual Craft Beer Festival on June 27th. That will be live streamed by Ben. Thank you very much. June 27th from 6 p.m. to 9, and it will be on the, I'm going to make sure I get this right, newportcraftbeer.com will be live streamed, and on their Facebook page, Newport Craft Beer Festival Facebook page. So for all of you that want to create watch parties, here we have this great effort, and my company is doing their social media campaign starting today or tomorrow. We're pretty ready to launch it. So we'll be doing and donating our services to support this organization of breweries in the state of Rhode Island. So this is a really cool effort where we're all working together to support a whole bunch of great companies that are working in Rhode Island. So that's what we're up to.
Yeah, well, I got to tour a lot of the breweries and help them out with a couple things. And also Senator Palmer, who was here a little earlier, helped us out as well. But thank you for that update, Laurie.
Yeah. We're going to be able to like look inside some of the breweries too. So that'll be a part of the program.
Yeah, we had, I don't know whether you caught it, but our Wednesday night show this week, we were in one of the distilleries in Pawtucket, which was really kind of neat. It was, and they did a couple mixed drinks and showed people how to do the mixed drinks of that at home with some good gin and tonics, I think it was. So.
Ooh, that sounds good. Well, I know the breweries are going to be doing pairing food with certain types of beer, and so there's going to be a lot of great stuff. Please sign up, newportcraftbeer.com.
Great. Justin, what do you got? Are you out at the campground right now?
Yeah, I had to take a quick ride to get some supplies for opening up. I promised my little guy we'd camp this weekend, so that's what we're doing today.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I want to touch on with a lot of people that are on the call and the small business panel that's about to come up is, you know, just because, you know, phase 1 you were able to open or phase 2 you might be able to open. I think one of the most important things as a business owner that you need to remember for yourself is make sure you feel comfortable. You know, I think that, like Liz said, you know, everybody's kind of rushing to get things done. Make sure you really put a good plan in place for yourself. Make sure that you're comfortable. As we've said before, small business owners, we have a unique connection with our customers. We really give them a personal one-on-one type service, no matter what type of small business it is. And just make sure you're ready for that type of service and comfortable, because if the customer feels that you're not comfortable, they're not going to be comfortable, and you know it's going to hurt that referral maybe coming back until some more of this stuff blows over. So you know, just take that into consideration. Make sure you feel comfortable. You know, if you have questions on how to be comfortable, how to do those things, feel free to email you know, any of our team members, and you know, Chris and Lori, and we've been working with everyone to, you know, help with safe you know, opening. My email, it's Justin@OceansideGraphicsRI.com. You know, feel free. We'll absolutely help you. And the LG's email there that just popped up. You know, we wish everyone the best of luck as we're beginning to open and make our site more, you know, hub friendly and be the voice for the Rhode Island, the small business of Rhode Island.
Well, Justin, the site that you started, and then Chris joined in, and then Lori joined in, has been fabulous. Yeah. My theme on today's show, as you've heard, is that we really need to focus on pay special attention to the small businesses who have not been allowed to open up yet. They have no revenue. They can go to rismallbusiness.org. Those businesses who aren't open, and they can register there. There's no charge. And then we can encourage people to go and shop. In particular, I think that we should pay attention and really ask a special ask of the people out there, the consumers. Go to the businesses that are not open right now. They need your help. This is really important. That's why I'm advocating and started on this week and now press releasing out today. Let's use the federal money that has been appropriated to the state that's supposed to help small businesses who have been impacted by the virus. Let's put a big chunk of money, and every month, if a business is not open, let's have them qualify for a proportion of that lump sum so that they get a check and help with their overhead. Otherwise, we're going to have too many business failures in the state of Rhode Island, and the three of you have been working so hard, volunteering your time to try to make sure that we minimize the pain. And so let's get people to go to that site and shop this weekend and pay particular attention. I was on a call yesterday with New Zealand talking about their reopening with their embassy, our ambassador, U.S. ambassador, with Mrs. Brown, Gail Brown, who's the wife of our ambassador there. And they talked about a program there that they were doing. They were supporting the businesses with advanced purchases and it was really helping those small businesses out. So let's do the same here in Rhode Island. And thank you for your leadership. And I can't thank you enough. And the people of Rhode Island should be thanking you as well. But to thank you the best way, go to the site, register, and buy something this weekend.
Yes.
Yes. Beautiful.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thank you for everything.
You bet. Okay. Still got my tie on, making sure everybody says thank you to a man or woman of service, and also the families. So don't forget the families that are sacrificing as well. So let's bring on the businesses. We got pretty good timing here. We got another 10 minutes or so to talk to 3 businesses that right now are impacted. They fall into that category that I just talked about, businesses that right now are not allowed to function. And we gotta hear that story. And then like I said, the state needs to take the federal money, put it into a pool, and send checks every month to any business that is not allowed to operate, period. Make it nice and simple. All right, let's go to Kayla first. Kayla, we talked on the phone the other day. Just give us a little overview of your business and the impact it's having. Then we go to Bethany, and we'll end up with Kevin. And everybody's got a couple minutes to kind of share their story, and I really appreciate you being on to do just that.
Yes, thank you for having us on, and feeling like we have a platform to speak about our concerns as small businesses. So I own Melissa Ashley Brides in Westerly, Rhode Island. We're a bridal and formal wear shop, and we have been closed down since everything kind of went on. And what we're kind of dealing with now is that, retail can reopen, but I think as you talked about on Tuesday, it's this very one size fits all model for reopening. And myself, as well as other shops that I've talked to, have a very big fear that if dressing rooms cannot reopen, because we're doing a one size fits all, we might not make it through this, because there's no way of getting around selling dresses until someone tries it on. In Connecticut, they actually got an audience with the governor. There is a lot of data that shows that, there's no cases that have been transferred from trying on dresses. We can steam our dresses in between appointments or quarantine them. We can control our environment with appointment only, limiting the number of people who are in our shops, and really only the staff and the brides actually touching any of the dresses. Our prom season already got cut short because in the middle of selling prom dresses, we shut down. And then obviously with school not going back, we weren't able to sell all the prom dresses that we normally do. We have a lot of inventory sitting that we won't be able to sell until next year. So it's already a huge hit. And then just not having any way of really communicating a plan. And that's, the wedding industry as a whole has really been affected by this. I have brides who are just having really small weddings, but a lot next year, we're going to see a lot of people are probably going to have 2 or 3 weddings on the same weekend, because I'm from Connecticut, so I know a lot of the Connecticut stats, but there's something like 14,000 weddings happen in Connecticut. Now, if you think about more than half those moving to 2021, everybody's going to be having a wedding all the time. And so, I just think that there needs to be some consideration, or maybe some waivers of some type, to allow small businesses to reopen, or at least allow us to join the conversation to show other states that are doing this, and they're doing it successfully.
Yeah, Kev, thank you very much for sharing that. And the personal stories are very important. And I would, again, I'll repeat, if a business is not open in the state of Rhode Island, there's a reason. But the business owners themselves are getting hurt. And so do some advanced buying. Go to Melissa's bride shop. You give her a deposit for something that's going to happen 6 months from now. Go to one of our stores. If you're not registered on rismallbusiness.org, Kayla, you should.
Yeah.
It's a supportive place for all our small businesses, and you can actually drive. I just saw one of your friends say, "Go that way," or something like that. So we build up a lot of goodwill, and a small business person myself. I know we're not in business unless we build up a lot of goodwill with our customers. And so I encourage them to go and shop at your shop. And also all around the state of Rhode Island right now, businesses are not open. That should be our focus right now, main focus. Again, that's why I'm repeating again. That's why I think we should use the federal money to create a pot of money and any businesses that are not open June 1st, we should have a strategy to get them a check to help them with their overhead. Do the same thing repeated on July 1st, August 1st, whenever, until all our businesses are open. That fund should be helping defray some of the costs that we're having. Bethany, please chime in here. You sent me a wonderful email. You described to me what I know I went through as a business owner years ago, where we struggled during a really difficult time, and a lot of pressure on a family, a lot of lost, sleepless nights going on. I don't think that everybody understands that, the pressure and the stress that happens as a result of what's going on. So share a little bit about your business, share a little bit about the email that you sent me this week, and thank you so much for being here today on short notice.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. So I do own a dance studio. I have 3 in Rhode Island and 1 in Massachusetts, and we are primarily a seasonal business, like a school. We run September through the beginning of June, and my letter to you was about how the PPP didn't work for my business and why. And we did receive the PPP in April. We were, and I held on to it because at that time, so many people weren't getting it, and I needed something, some sort of a safety net, some, way to sleep at night, basically knowing I had a little something just in case. And basically in March, people stopped paying tuition the minute this happened. The entire month of April, we tried to stay open virtually for the kids. We only took in about 25% of our normal revenue. And I struggled to pay my staff through the end of April. And at that moment, I kind of just had to call it. We were going to be finishing our season at the end of May anyways. So the PPP rules are you have to use it for 8 weeks after you receive the loan. And I couldn't use it for 8 weeks. It wouldn't be forgiven. So I never used it. And during the summer, we rely on some summer camps, some private lessons. We really slow down just like schools do. You have very limited summer programs. And so we've lost all of that. We've lost our most profitable time of year with our end of the year recitals. We're just going to be digging ourselves out of a hole is my concern. So if my PPP can't be forgiven, or if I can't use it when I do reopen, it will substantially impact us. And I have 3 children at home, 2 that are in private school because I have a 1-year-old. And, I had to call their school today and say, I just don't know what my life is going to look like 6 months from now. So I don't know if I can make that tuition payment. I just don't. I have no idea. So that was my primary concern and why I wrote to you, because I've heard rumors that the PPP might be extended. But even if it is, when we reopen in September, we're seasonal. So our classes change based on enrollment. I'm not even sure how many classes I'll be able to offer and if my payroll will look like it did when I received the PPP. So I think without some other assistance, like you've been pushing for, some other way for our businesses that have been forced to be closed, without some forgiveness or some grants, I don't know if a lot of us will survive,
Yeah. Bethany, thank you for sharing that with us. And I addressed a little bit about the PPP with Mark Hayward earlier in the broadcast, and we'll connect you in with the SBA to kind of, not this one size fits all is not true. Everybody's got a story, and we got to figure out how to do that story. And again, I also say that the small businesses who are not open right now, they need to not only advocate to get open, but they also got to advocate for the assistance that I'm suggesting. It's there, and millions of dollars could be distributed. And I think you can anybody who needs help, you could put it into a pool. You could create a math formula. You could distribute to anybody who actually qualifies as a business that hasn't opened up could get something. And anything right now would be helpful for our businesses. So I would really advocate all the small business listening today that are not open to really start listening and help me, support me in that effort. The more that we get talking about, the fact that you should be compensated if you're asked to be enclosed to protect the health of the people in the state of Rhode Island, you should be compensated for that. That's not a handout, and not in today's standards, that's for sure. Whoever thought you could potentially have a loan from the SBA that could be forgiven in 8 weeks? this is an extraordinary time frame, and we got to act like it is for our small businesses. So we need to really advocate hard. So thank you, Bethany, for being here. Kevin, the floor is yours for a few minutes, and please share your story, just as Bethany and Kayla just did with theirs.
Thanks for having me, Lieutenant Governor McKee. It's really great to have a platform to kind of collaborate on kind of what's happening. I can feel for the bridal store with the dresses, because a big part of our business catering is weddings. And one of the first things that really went was booked events, and now the weddings sort of have slowly either trickled away, they've postponed till next year, or in a lot of cases people are very nervous to move forward with their wedding at all. I'm finding it's sort of a kind of a combination of the three. Our business in particular, catering, it's based on the congregation of people. That's what we do. We don't do groups of 5 or 10 people. We do 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 plus people. And some events are well into the 1,000 numbers. I looking forward, it's very, it's kind of discouraging to think what that's going to look like in the many years to come. We also look around the colleges that are supportive of the economy, very specifically restaurants and hospitality industry, have shuttered for the season. And, that's just revenue that's never going to get made up. And, I always tell people, when you're building a business model in a restaurant business, you plan on 48 weeks, not 52, because you're going to lose snow, hot weather, cold weather. You're never going to have 52 weeks to completely pay all your bills. This is a little different scenario. I think it's even more compounded. So it's frustrating. And I also think about the buzzword is opening of the economy. I hear that a lot. I hear it on national news, you hear it on local news, you hear it from reporters. And I look at my business and the colleagues that I deal with in our industry, whether it be other caterers, rental companies, and we all seem to say the same question: what are we open to? The customers are gone for the foreseeable future. Our business, again, is predicated on bookings that take place many months before an event actually comes to fruition. So, it's scary. It's scary times. What's that going to look like, moving forward? And I agree with you, Lieutenant Governor, on the pools of money for the state, from this COVID money. And I look to say, most people I talk to, guys and girls in this business, we just don't want any more loans. I think it's time to start stepping up with some of that COVID money and helping out with some grants, and even just for basic overhead expenses, mortgages. And, I do know that there's some rules changes coming to the PPP. I've been following that very closely. I had a conversation with my accountant this morning, so something to keep an eye on for everyone here. But, it's frustrating. And I'm also, taking on another end on the insurance side. So for many years in this industry, I've paid for what I believe to be business interruption. And it's the what if factor. If something happens and I can't perform my contractual obligations, if it's something that unforeseenly happens, or just unexpected event. These are all the things that you discuss with your brokers, your insurance companies. And then when it comes time to put a claim in, they're it's an immediate denial, and they just don't even want to talk to you. So that's very frustrating, because those are premiums that are being paid year in and year out. And little homework I've done on that is it doesn't seem like there's been major insurance payouts for disasters since like Hurricane Bob on just general liability policies. Most of the storm stuff that happened in Hurricane Sandy came under government flood insurance policy. So it's sort of a different animal. So it's frustrating to think that we've paid, tens of thousands of dollars to these policies. And when we really need it, and, just could use some help, I was strongly under the impression that I'd have some payroll protection in there. I'd have some overhead protection. I'd have some lost revenue protection. And as of today, I've gotten zero. So, that's a big focus of mine right now. I've been trying to strategize. I've obtained legal counsel to try to, bring litigation into court, which, I'm hoping once the courts open up, we can get rolling with that. So I encourage other business owners to do the same. I think there's a lack of focus on that. And I don't necessarily know that it's a legislative, component necessarily. I think it's really a case by case. Different policies say different things. And I really think that, business owners should really take a hard look at taking some legal action with that. And I'd be glad to talk to anyone and share my strategy and kind of where I've been at, what I'm outlined. But that's kind of my story. It's been some challenging times, per se.
It's a nightmare we don't want to relive, Kevin, that's for sure. And I think that the things you talked about every question that didn't seem like a realistic question to ask, 12 weeks ago or 9 weeks ago is a legit question, including the insurance issue, I believe, as well. So yeah, stay involved with us. I'm advocating for three things. One is to find the most flexibility we possibly can with our reopening of our businesses, knowing that one size does not fit all, and we need to try to, open up as best we can with flexibility. We barbershops opening up in Massachusetts and salons next week. We're still lagging there. We've got, different types of quarantines that we have mandatory quarantines in the state, where other states, including Massachusetts, is more of a recommended type of quarantine. Connecticut was ready to open up the hairdressers. They got a call from the state, and they kind of reversed that, by the way, which we need to really be flexible. The other one is the fact that I think that if we have federal money that is designated to help small businesses, I believe that money, the lion's share of that money, should go to businesses that have not been able to open in a form of grants. And then finally, I think that we need to, and I share this because I think it's important that the support of the small business community out there to latch on to these ideas and to really push them. The last one is that we should be putting up a state guarantees. I've seen some states do it, and to leverage those guarantees tenfold, 20-fold into the local financial institutions. So for the business that do feel as though that it's for their business to borrow some money on favorable terms, low interest, deferred rate, payments for a period of time, that they can do it. They have that option. Because Kevin, I know that we don't want to borrow money, but in some cases that is a good decision to borrow money because you feel as though the future down the line, you can see it. And that distance to get there requires some liquidity, and cash is very important. So we got to give small businesses the option to get the cash very easily, and we need to create flexibility, and then we need to give a grant strategy with the federal money for the businesses that have been told that they can't open. And the reason they can't open is to protect the health and safety and welfare of the people of the state of Rhode Island. So I think the people of the state of Rhode Island would say, hey, you're keeping us healthy. We should compensate you for that, because the stress that you have and the overhead that you have is you just can't handle it without some help. So anyways, thank you so much, the three of us, for being here. We'll keep our lines open. Things that you're working on, make sure you're communicating with our office. And I appreciate each and every one of you coming and telling your story. Personal stories right now far outweigh even the professionals in the business that are representing us, whether they're lobbyists or they're people who are heading up the chambers. By the way, we need to get money to the chambers on the federal money. They've been opted out of that, and that's not right. But personal stories like you shared today carry so much weight. Thank you for sharing. We'll stay in touch. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Ben, we can sign off in the next 30 seconds. I just want to remind everybody that it's Memorial Day weekend, and this is a time where we thank our veterans. We thank those men and women who are serving. We thank their families, but we also have a special remembrance for the men and women who have died to protect our freedoms in this country. And so let's make sure that we spend some time this weekend thinking about that, reaching out as Mark Haywood did for his dad earlier in the show. And we make sure we thank those who help keep us safe. And let's count our blessings. Stay safe. And thank you for joining us today. Bye now.